Anybody can move to Costa Rica, and a lot of people do. And that's when the adventure begins. However, the struggles begin when you realize how different life is in Costa Rica, and you begin to adapt or you begin to adjust. But a lot of people struggle in that area. Why is that, you think?
I think the main reason is probably false expectations. You know, you're excited to buy a piece of property, you want to build a house, want to move in, and things tend to take longer than you expected, and that can lead to a lot of disappointments.
A lot of aggravation. So what's the one piece of advice that you can give people so that they can enjoy their best life now in Costa Rica?
Well, if you're here, then I would say focus on the positive. There's lots of positive about Costa Rica, and that'll get you through a lot of things. If you've not moved here yet and you're thinking about it, I would say be well informed, be as prepared as you could possibly be. That way your expectations are more realistic and you won't be so discouraged.
Costa Rica, it can be a very magical place. However, it is very, very different than anywhere that you're coming from. So I want to take you back to, you're sitting at your house, you're in the living room, and you and a friend are watching the news. The weatherman comes on and he says a tropical depression is now forming just off the coast. It's picking up speed rapidly, and we can see that it's going to become a hurricane and possibly a Category 3, possibly Category 4. It could be one of the strongest hurricanes we've had this season. What do? Well, immediately in your mind, you start thinking of all the things that you need to do to get prepared. Whether that's going to the grocery store, buying more food, whether it's like, okay, you know what, we better make sure the car is filled up with gas because we might have an emergency, we might have to leave. You start thinking about all the things that you need to do to get prepared. When you get ready to go to Costa Rica, it's a lot like that. You've got to be prepared for the hurricane that you're about to get into, because it is so different. You have to be prepared. I see all the time how many people come to Costa Rica and more of them leave than stay. And why is that? Well, the number one reason is because they have a hard time adjusting to life in Costa Rica. They have a hard time adapting to life in Costa Rica. So I want you to write this down. When bad circumstances happen in your life, it doesn't matter whether it's here in Costa Rica, whether you're at home, when bad circumstances happen in your life, you got two choices. You can either complain about them or you can make the best of your circumstance. You see, a lot of people end up focusing on the negative, and the more you focus on the negative, the more you focus on how terrible it is, the more you focus on, I can't believe they do that here in Costa Rica, then the bigger that problem becomes, and it makes it more and more difficult for you to adapt, for you to adjust to life in Costa Rica. And then you end up leaving, you end up going home. I saw a video just the other day. You know, this young lady, she had been here for 1.5 years. Almost the whole time on the video, she's crying, you know, and she's reaching out for help because she's having a hard time adapting to life in Costa Rica. If you're having a hard time adapting to life in Costa Rica, I can tell you the number one reason: you're not prepared. You came ill-equipped. You got the bad information. You were sold this lie that Costa Rica is this magical paradise where you're laying on the beach, you know, reading a good book and you're drinking Mai Tais. And that can be true to some extent, but that honeymoon phase only lasts so long. And then you've got to learn how to adjust to life in Costa Rica. This weekend, Rebecca and I will be holding a live broadcast where we're going to be discussing and talking about adjusting to life in Costa Rica. This is, without a doubt, the most important topic that we can share with you. After having been here for 10 years, after having traveled all over Costa Rica, living in over 25 different places and houses, we have had to learn how to adjust to life in Costa Rica. And if I'm 100% honest with you, there's still a lot of things that I have a hard time adjusting to. I know that if I go into Walmart, or if I go into town to the grocery stores, by the end of the day, I'm so frustrated if I allow those circumstances to do that to me, that I can be pissed off the rest of the day. I can be mad the rest of the day. But I've learned, what do? Well, I've learned that, you know what? The people are so different, and it's you have to understand why they're different, and we'll be talking about that. But what I've learned is that, you know what? If I've got to go shopping, I'm not going on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'm not going on the weekend, because that's when most of them are off, and you know, the stores could be packed. So I don't go. So I've learned these little hacks. I've learned the things that I need to know so that for me, I can adjust to life in Costa Rica. It's so important for you to learn how you can adjust to life in Costa Rica. It is going to be the #1 biggest challenge you will have when you come to Costa Rica. Costa Rica will chew you up and spit you out if you're not prepared. So I hope you'll join us this Sunday as we have a live broadcast. You'll be able to ask questions, and we're going to spend time to try to answer every single question with you as we help you to understand life in Costa Rica, but more than life in Costa Rica, how you can adapt to living in Costa Rica.